One mistake that many men make when using their fingers on a woman can seriously reduce her chances of reaching orgasm. That is exactly why today's discussion focuses on what to do and what to avoid when it comes to fingering a woman. Some men may feel completely confident in their skills, while others may have no idea where to begin. But either way, there is something valuable here for everyone. Fingers can create sensations and experiences that are very different from what a penis or vibrator can provide. And when used properly, they can bring a woman an incredible amount of pleasure. The problem is that a lot of men make a major mistake by treating their fingers like a substitute for penetration. Instead of taking advantage of what fingers can uniquely offer, they simply copy the same motions they would use during intercourse, turning fingering into a weaker version of sex. Think of this as a beginner's guide that can help transform an average experience into something unforgettable. Magda Kay, a sex and relationship coach, explains that many men misunderstand this process because they skip the first two essential stages and jump directly into the third. Rather than taking their time, they rush straight to penetration with their fingers and use intense movements far too early. Not only does this often feel unpleasant, but it can also cause a woman's body to tense up and contract. As a result, if intercourse happens afterward, reaching orgasm may become much more difficult or even impossible. This is why the first two stages should never be ignored. Before even discussing the first step, however, there is something extremely important that needs attention. Hands should always be clean, and fingernails should be trimmed and filed smooth. Even small, sharp edges can cause discomfort or create tiny cuts in sensitive tissue. Once that is taken care of, the process can begin with the first stage, something almost everyone knows about but many people still rush through, and that is warming her up. To explain why this matters so much, imagine preparing bread. Before anything can be baked, the dough has to be made. The amount of bread you end up with depends entirely on how much dough you prepared in the beginning. If there is not enough dough, there will not be enough bread. And once the baking process starts, it is too late to create more. In the same way, warm-up builds a woman's sexual energy. The more energy that is created before moving forward, the more intense and satisfying her orgasm can become. If only a small amount of energy is built, the result is often a much weaker experience. Once things move into the later stages, the foundation has already been set, so there is no easy way to make up for what was missed earlier. This is why warm-up plays such a critical role in pleasure, whether the activity involves fingering, oral sex, or penetration. So, what does warming her up actually involve? It is all about building anticipation and creating excitement before anything physical happens. This stage is not focused on immediately touching intimate areas or stimulating her body directly. Those things come later. The goal here is to make her look forward to what is coming next. Many men skip this completely because they assume foreplay starts with physical contact, but anticipation often begins in the mind. Telling her how attractive she is, how much she turns you on, how beautiful she looks, and how much you desire her can be incredibly powerful. When she hears those things, her imagination naturally starts filling in the details, and her excitement begins to grow. In many ways, her mind starts doing part of the work on its own. There is a reason why so much content created for women focuses on anticipation rather than immediate action. Pick up almost any romantic or erotic story, and the buildup is often the most important part, because for many women, anticipation is one of the most exciting and pleasurable experiences of all. After building excitement in her mind, the next stage is warming up her body, but still not focusing on her most intimate areas. This is another point where many men move too quickly. It is understandable because they are excited and naturally want to rush ahead, but what feels good for a man is not always what works best for a woman. The basic rule is simple. Start from the outside and slowly move inward. That means giving attention to places like her hands, shoulders, feet, hair, face, and neck, before gradually moving toward her stomach and inner thighs. Only after that should attention shift to her chest, and the most intimate areas should come last. Taking this slow approach can build so much excitement that she may find herself craving more and eagerly wanting the next step. Her breathing may become deeper. Her body may start responding naturally, and she might even guide your hand herself. That level of anticipation is incredibly powerful, but it only happens when the earlier steps are done properly. This is where teasing becomes important. Touch different parts of her body, occasionally brushing close to sensitive areas before moving away again. The goal is to keep building desire rather than rushing to the finish line. Even if she clearly wants more, extending this stage can make the entire experience much stronger. The buildup is often what separates an average lover from a great one. Then comes the third stage, which is finally moving forward. Before doing that, however, it helps to spend a little more time giving attention to the outer area first. The same principle still applies. Start outside and continue building anticipation. Gentle touch, kissing, and exploring the surrounding area can create even more excitement. The area around the clitoris is especially sensitive, and many women find indirect stimulation there very pleasurable. Small circles or gentle pressure around that region can feel amazing without becoming overwhelming. From there, teasing the entrance can help determine whether she is relaxed and ready. If everything feels comfortable and natural, then it becomes easier to move forward. Starting with a single finger is usually the best approach. Once inside, many people make the mistake of immediately using fast and aggressive movements, but that often works against the gradual buildup that women respond to best. Instead, staying still for a moment while applying gentle pressure externally can feel surprisingly pleasurable. The body often begins responding naturally, with movements that create their own rhythm. This type of pressure is frequently overlooked, yet many women find it extremely enjoyable. From there, slow circular motions can help explore the area, encourage relaxation, and awaken sensitive nerve endings. Gradually, gentle in and out movements can be added, always keeping the pace controlled rather than rushed. If her body feels comfortable and receptive, a second finger can be introduced, but only when there is enough space and everything feels relaxed. Comfort should always come first. It is also important to make sure movements remain smooth and comfortable rather than dry or uncomfortable. Once inside, fingers can explore in ways that are very different from penetration. Human hands are incredibly flexible and capable of creating sensations that other forms of stimulation simply cannot. Gentle pressure along the upper wall of the vagina is often particularly pleasurable because this is the area commonly associated with the G-spot. While many people focus only on this one location, there are several other sensitive areas that can also contribute to pleasure and even lead to orgasm. In fact, one common misunderstanding is that squirting is always connected to G-spot stimulation, when in reality, other sensitive areas may also play a role in that experience. Beyond the well-known pleasure points, there are other sensitive areas that can create completely different experiences, including one that many women describe as producing some of the deepest orgasms possible. One of the biggest advantages of using fingers is that they allow access to these different pleasure zones in a way that is often difficult with penetration alone. While a penis may naturally stimulate certain areas, fingers can move, bend, and explore with much more precision, making it easier to discover what feels best for her. For anyone interested in learning more about these pleasure points, where they are located, and how they can be stimulated, Magda explains that she covers them in detail in her course, Female Sexuality Decoded. Once inside, the goal should not be to simply repeat the same straight in and out movement over and over again. That motion already belongs to penetration, and it works well there for a reason. Fingers have a completely different advantage because they are smaller, more flexible, and capable of reaching places that other forms of stimulation cannot. Instead of relying on one repetitive movement, it can be more effective to explore different areas, both near the entrance and deeper inside. Depending on her anatomy and where she is in her cycle, it may even be possible to reach her cervix, since its position naturally changes throughout the month. At the same time, it is important not to constantly switch techniques every few seconds. Consistency often plays a huge role in helping pleasure build. Rather than worrying about finding a new move every moment, it is usually better to pay attention to her reactions and continue doing what is clearly working. Then comes the fifth stage, which focuses on helping her reach her peak. As her breathing changes, her body becomes more responsive, and her excitement continues building. Intensity can gradually increase. Since fingers offer so much control, they can be used in ways that create a wide variety of sensations. One of the simplest approaches is to continue stimulating the upper wall of the vagina while slowly adding more pressure and focus. Some women also enjoy clitoral stimulation at the same time, which can be done while maintaining internal stimulation. For many women, clitoral stimulation is an important part of reaching orgasm, while others may not need it at all. Every woman responds differently, which is why communication and paying attention to her reactions matters so much. When the moment feels right, intensity can increase, but it should happen gradually rather than all at once. A sudden jump in speed or pressure can sometimes interrupt the pleasure that has been building. The key is to allow excitement to rise naturally while observing how her body responds. At that point, she may experience an orgasm, or she may simply reach a powerful peak of pleasure without a traditional orgasm. Either outcome can still be deeply satisfying. Afterward, there are usually clear signs that her body is beginning to relax. Her breathing slows, her muscles soften, and her overall energy starts settling down. When this happens, it is a signal that the peak has passed and her body is entering a more relaxed state. This is also the perfect time to slow everything down. There is actually one final bonus step that many people overlook. Instead of stopping immediately, gentle stimulation can continue for a short period while allowing her body to gradually come down from the experience. The goal is no longer to increase arousal, but to help her relax and enjoy the lingering sensations. Just as building excitement gradually is important, easing out of the experience can be equally valuable. This cooling down phase may last several minutes, allowing her body to fully settle into a comfortable and peaceful state. Once she is completely relaxed and her body feels calm, the experience can naturally come to an end. Gentle affection, closeness, and physical connection afterward can make the entire encounter feel even more meaningful. Even if intimacy continues later, taking a moment to enjoy the after effects before building excitement again can make a noticeable difference. Ultimately, this approach is designed to create a more pleasurable and connected experience. However, it is also important to understand that if she does not reach orgasm, it does not automatically mean anything went wrong. Many women find orgasms difficult to achieve for a variety of reasons, including stress, distractions, emotions, energy levels, and countless other factors that may have nothing to do with their partner. Women also respond differently to different forms of stimulation. Just because fingering did not lead to an orgasm does not mean it was not enjoyable or satisfying. In fact, focusing too heavily on orgasm as the only measure of success can sometimes create unnecessary pressure. If a woman feels that her partner is disappointed because she did not climax, what may have started as an enjoyable experience can suddenly feel stressful or discouraging. She may begin feeling as though she somehow failed, even though she was having a good time. That is why it is important not to become obsessed with the outcome and instead focus on the overall experience, connection, and pleasure that was shared throughout the moment. Of course, it is wonderful when she reaches orgasm, and afterward you can always have an open conversation about it. You can ask how it felt, whether there was something she enjoyed most, or if there is anything that could make the experience even better next time. Honest communication like that can help both partners learn more about each other and build a stronger connection. What you should never do, however, is make her feel responsible for having an orgasm or create pressure around it. The moment she starts feeling expected to perform, the experience can quickly become stressful instead of enjoyable. More often than not, that pressure becomes the very thing that prevents her from fully relaxing and enjoying herself. This entire approach, from the way excitement is built, to the way attention is given to her body, to the patience and care shown throughout the experience, is what truly separates an average lover from a memorable one. It is not about rushing to an outcome or focusing on a single goal. It is about understanding her responses, creating anticipation, and making her feel comfortable, desired, and appreciated every step of the way. For those who want to take their understanding even further, there are many more techniques and insights that can help create deeper pleasure and connection in the bedroom. Learning more about female sexuality, understanding what different women enjoy, and discovering the various sensitive areas that contribute to pleasure can make a huge difference in the overall experience. According to Magda, mastering these details and gaining a deeper understanding of how a woman's body responds can help a partner become more attentive, more confident, and far more effective at creating satisfying and meaningful intimate experiences.